Today, we're diving into the crucial topic of cybersecurity for small and medium-sized businesses. According to a recent MYOB report, a whopping 3 in 5 mid-sized businesses have experienced a cyber attack or incident. On top of that, the Australian Signals Directorate cyber threat report shows that the average cost of cybercrime is $46,000 for small businesses, 46 grand, and 97,000 for medium-sized businesses. Plus, nearly 94,000 cybercrime reports were filed just last year alone, a 23% increase from 2022. With cyber attacks growing increasingly sophisticated, it's more important than ever for all of us small business owners to stay vigilant. So, how can you keep your business safe? To help us unpack the stats and provide some practical tips, we have cyber expert Rob Dooley, VP at Rapid7. Rob, thanks for joining us. A really big point in the MYOB report is training, getting your staff trained in this. How important is that for small businesses?
I think it's absolutely critical, Kochie. A lot of organisations think it won't happen to me, but with 90,000 events last year, I think there's evidence it will happen to everybody. When you look at the areas where you should probably really emphasise on our training, one of them's around identifying those phishing emails and what's malicious and what's not, and it's becoming more and more difficult with QR codes. So it's something that you should really watch out for. The other area that I think is really important is password management. We're all guilty of using the same password on multiple sites. And even if it's a great password, if one of those sites gets hacked, that means that all of your sites are at risk.
Well, but you've got to remember so many passwords these days. It's ridiculous. How do you manage your passwords? Because there are a lot of easy ways to do that now, isn't there?
I think it just takes diligence in terms of picking one software vendor and just use that as your single source of truth.
And you can trust them?
You can trust them.
Okay. Let's get back to training of staff though, and yes, making sure they have different passwords. Where can we go as a small business owner to get advice on how do you start your training?
There's two ways. I think the Australian government does a great job through the Australian Signals Directorate in terms of providing a lot of information.
Oh, so that's all online?
It's all online,
right?
But the challenge with the amount of information is sifting through, and small business owners are busy, right? Yep. Your job is not being a cyber expert.
Exactly.
So my recommendation would be that you find a partner, and may well be another small business, a managed security service provider, to help you through this.
The threats are changing constantly. You know, these scammers are right at the top of their game. How can we keep up to date with what's the latest threat?
It's difficult. I think the scammers and AI, initially it helped with their spelling, like there was no more spelling mistakes. But then with deep fakes on voice, audio, video, it's a real challenge. They're all using AI, and I think you really probably need to look at partnering with an organisation that can help you where they're using AI to defend against the attackers that are also using AI. But let's come back to the real basics. Everybody's got to look at those cyber hygiene elements. Like we mentioned before, password management, training your staff around phishing. If we get those fundamentals right, we're going a long way towards protecting our organisations.
When you look at small businesses, what are some of the most common mistakes, apart from not having decent software management, what are the most common mistakes they're making?
The most common one by far is this won't happen to me.
Yep.
Yeah. And it can happen to anybody. So the number one thing is be vigilant. Take this seriously, take controls, invest in that cyber hygiene.
Absolutely. Rob, some great advice there. Mate, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.